It is November and time for another garden tour. I'm going to be showing you my fall garden today. I'm going to show you what's doing good, what we're still harvesting out of our garden, and what's not doing so good. So let's take a look at my garden, and remember, if you liked my videos, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, Becoming Homesteaders. Jenny with Becoming Homesteaders, and it's November, so I thought we would do a quick garden tour. There's not much to see in my gardens this time of year, but I did have a fall garden and I'm a little bit surprised, so I'd like to show you how things are doing. And my herbs still look good, so let's take a look at things. All right, my herb garden still looks pretty good. I still have lots of nice green herbs. It is up close to my house, so it does get a little bit protected from the elements. We have some chives and parsley in there, some mint and oregano, calendula in the back. We have some marjoram up front here with some thyme hiding in there. So some sage and rosemary are over there. The rosemary's still hanging on, but I will lose that and we'll have to replant next year, but everything else should come back. So I do need to gather up my hose though and take that in for the winter, but it doesn't look terrible. And I can usually get these herbs all the way through January. Right, so we did take the rain barrel in, and that is usually right there on the bricks. So I'll move the bricks and clean this bed up, but I wanted to show you this is usually where I put my carrots in the spring, and then we had some squash here. But the fenced in area is pretty much done producing everything. Take a quick look in here. These 3 panels, that's where I had my tomatoes this year. This is just a green cover crop that did not do very well. It was supposed to get much bigger, but I just think I got it in the ground too late. But it was an experiment this year, so that's okay. Raised beds all cleared out. That's where I had my pumpkins. There is 1 parsley plant hanging on. And then the other rain barrel is over there in the corner right there. We removed that, emptied it, and it is now in storage as well. So everything's kind of quiet in this garden. In front of that fenced in areas where I had my pepper plants this year, it does need to be cleaned up yet, and I will put a layer of leaves over top of this, mulched up leaves. But I've still got a nice kale plant here in the corner, so that looks really good. I'll probably have him most of the fall and beginning of winter as well. This is where I had my cut flower garden this year. I started that this past spring, and it didn't look quite as good as I was hoping it would look. We had a lot of pressures this year from animals and bugs, but the flowers that I did pick were beautiful. I did just dig up my dahlia bulbs, so I will be storing those for the winter and probably replanting them next year. I'm not real sure what I will do, if I will do the same technique as last year. So I'll keep you posted on that, but this still needs to be cleaned up and mulched. So hopefully I get to that this year, but sometimes, you know, things happen and you don't always get to the mulching part of it, so we'll see. All right, back here is the corner of our yard. We have compost bins in the back corner there behind our fire pit, and then panning over here, this is the new garden. This area up front in front of the pine tree is the most recent. We had our potatoes here, and they did very well. So in the place of the potatoes, when I dug them, we wanted to do a fall garden, but I just think I got it in a little bit too late. But still, I've learned some things and we'll be doing things a little bit differently. So let's take a closer look. We do have some cabbages. I was hoping to get more, but these are the only 3 that are left, and this one is probably not going to make it, but I do have 2 small heads, so I guess it wasn't a total loss. We do have the broccoli and cauliflower over there. Those are going to be a total loss. We have some broccoli here. I actually think I might be able to get something off of this. So let me move these and you guys can see there is a tiny broccoli head. So he has a few more weeks to possibly get a little bigger. Those two back there, the same. So I have these little houses on them and I will slip a plastic cover over them to help protect them from the elements. So we'll see. We'll do another tour in December and I'll show you guys how things are faring then. But these are cauliflower and I don't think they're going to have time. But again, I'm just leaving everything to see if it will make it or not. These are Chinese cabbages and look how terrible they look. The bugs have just completely eaten them. So that's very sad, but all things that I'm learning. I've never done a fall garden, so this was all just a learning curve. So I do know that I need to get things in a little bit sooner next year. Then moving over from the broccoli and cauliflower, we have things that did do well. So this is a winter density lettuce and it is just beautiful. We have been eating off of these, so you can see a few things missing here and there. And then I'll come in and just pick a few leaves off of each plant as not to take the whole thing down. But very pleased with the performance and I will definitely be doing this again next year. In this row for the summer I had pumpkins and then in the spring we had cabbage. Behind that then we now have some carrots. Let me see if I can get you a better look at these. Okay, these are the carrots. I have 3 rows planted here, 1, 2, and 3, and it's about half the length. And then in the back, I have a winter choy. So you can see that there has been some bug pressure on these guys as well. But as I leave them and they grow, the bugs are leaving them alone because the temperatures are dropping. So I think we'll be fine, but we've been eating on those too. You can see a few missing. And then behind that, we have spinach. Okay, this is also a winter variety and it looks pretty good. Again, we've been nibbling on it. So a couple leaves from each plant, but I'm hoping that it will just continue throughout the season. I am going to be putting a plastic over top that I purchased from Johnny's Seeds. So I'm real excited to see how long I can get these to last. Then in this raised bed here, I have my garlic planted. So I'm excited for that. We have some lettuces here. These are a little more tender, so I don't look for those to last too long in the season, but so far they look good. And I do put this green little covering over them at night to help. Then in front of them, we have some collard greens and some kale. Here's a little bit better look at the greens, the collard greens, and then the kale behind them, the baby kale. We've been picking on this as well and eating them, and it's just so nice to have some fresh greens this time of year from your garden. We have some parsley hanging on back here, some, let's see, what is that? Oregano and some chives. And then in my whiskey barrels, there's not much left. Oh wait, it does look like there's a little bit of green left in here, so who knows. But the Swiss chard has been nibbled down to nothing. Then this side we have a celery, so we'll be eating on him as well as the season goes on. My bok choy didn't do so good, but I still have been eating the green leaves, so using it as a green in some salads. Like I said, this is all a learning curve for me. I've never done a fall garden, and next year I know I will also try to do this again. I will get things in sooner if possible, as well as making sure to cover my vegetables. So I normally will put these out and cover them immediately, but I was trying to harden them off and had them up on my deck, and I feel like maybe some of the pests were on the plants before they were even in the ground. Now for these Chinese cabbage, the slugs are terrible, and I know that has a lot to do with the location in the back garden here, because it is a lot shadier back here, as well as the soil staying moist. I wouldn't say we had a lot of rain, but you know, we're out here watering, so things just stayed a little too moist, I think, and the slugs just had at it. I had them covered at first, but when at this point, there's no point in having them covered. So we did remove all of the coverings, and we're just kind of leaving things to see how it goes, just so that I have a better idea how long things will last. So I'll keep you updated, but I am a little bit surprised though. Like I showed you, we do have this little tiny broccoli back here, and little tiny cabbage heads. So I was able to salvage one of the Chinese cabbages after I removed all of the outer layer. I had a very small Chinese cabbage, but you know, it still made a nice stir fry. So the cauliflower, I don't think we will have enough time for those to mature. Again, we're just gonna leave them and see how long things survive. But all an experiment, all a learning curve. That's all part of gardening, no matter what level you're at, as far as being a new gardener or experienced. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today in my garden for the November garden tour. Stay tuned for next month's garden tour, where I will give you an update on how well my fall crops are doing. Fingers crossed that they last through the end of December, but we'll see. I'll keep you updated. And let me know what your garden has in it still. Let us know what you're harvesting, what you're trying to get to last through the season. Remember to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.